Hi, we're the KinderJet family.
These are our crazy kids.
Traveling with them is expensive. They each need their own airplane seat, hotel bed. They insist on eating.
It's stressful. Must they go so close to the edge?
It's exhausting. These dudes have way more energy than we do.
So why do we travel with our kids? Because it is fun, rewarding, and always worth it.
Welcome to KinderJet. Here we go.
For our family, a vacation includes a few important ingredients: kid-friendly accommodations, lots of things to do, a little something to learn, and the beach. Southern California more than fits the bill, and let's talk about San Diego. This city is all about the beaches. If you get your fill of sun and surf, a short drive gets you from the beach to the land of Lego, world of the sea, and the town of old. After 2 visits, we still have way more to discover in San Diego.
We went to Legoland, California 3 years ago, and Legoland Florida last February. Still, the boys insisted we make another visit to Legoland this trip. We were a little worried they would be disappointed. You know, been there, done that.
You know, I don't know how Lego does it. This was, once again, one of the best days of our vacation. The kids were excited to do all their favorite Lego things, and having been there before, knowing what to expect and what to avoid, we were relaxed and we enjoyed it too.
First stop, the big shop. We've learned the hard way and now shop for Lego first. There are no crowds in the store, and you can leave it for pickup at the end of the day. So you don't have to carry all that stuff around, which is what we originally thought. Each of the boys had a preset amount of money to spend. The older boys knew exactly what they couldn't get at home and what was so new it's not available elsewhere. Their traditional replenishing of the Lego foam swords is a given. The selection is pretty good. I almost got one for myself.
Once our purchases were safely packaged for later retrieval, it was time for ice cream. There's one thing we've learned in our travels. It is not worth it to argue about getting ice cream or slushies or any kind of treat all day. Just get it right away and then everyone will be happy. With that out of the way, it's time to hit the rides. Even though the weather was cool, the boys decided their first ride would be a water one. And then they made me spin.
Lots of photo ops for the dramatic people in our family. The older boys are all about roller coasters these days. So, the little one goes on the younger rides by himself. But here in Legoland, we find lots that they can all enjoy together.
Here's my tip of the day. Even if a line doesn't look very long, if the sign says 45 minutes, believe it. Treasure Falls is a log ride with only 3 logs, 2 people in each. It would not have been worth the wait for me, but the kids loved it.
Lineups at Legoland are made much easier with built-in areas for the kids to play with Lego while they wait. Sometimes that is the best part.
Lego is fun and all right!
We had lunch at the castle. Your standard fare of burgers and fries, souvenir cups included. Dessert. No visit to Legoland is complete for me until I get my apple fries.
We steered Lego boats, flew Lego helicopters, and drove Lego cars. We even pedaled our way around one end of the park. There were more rides, but it was close to closing time, and we were ready to end our Legoland day the way we always do, Miniland. It seems you're always amazed at what can be built with Lego, but this time there was a new draw for our family. Star Wars Miniland.
It was not terribly warm outside, so instead of ice cream, I got coffee. I bought a Legoland reusable thermal cup for $10 that I could refill as many times as I wanted with coffee or tea all day. Then I brought it home as a souvenir. Totally worth it.
During the summer, Legoland stays open later, but in the winter, they close around sunset. We may have hit another ride or two if we had more time, but we were pretty much ready to go by closing. The kids were starting to get goofy. Highlight for the kids.
Buying Lego. The roller coasters.
Highlight for the parents. Star Wars Miniland.
For our family, Legoland is always a good day. Maybe because we all love Lego. Maybe because it's a manageable size and we don't feel overwhelmed. Maybe because there's something that appeals to everyone in the family. Whatever the reason, I have a feeling there will be more days in the lands of Lego in our future. When traveling with kids, do you prefer driving or flying?
Flying.
Yeah?
Flying for sure. Driving because it's, I guess she gets a little more cranky when she drives. Traveling, she enjoys, I guess she enjoys it. She's a flyer.
Flying. I don't like driving anywhere.
I prefer to drive only so we have a vehicle, but if it's a longer distance, then we would prefer to fly.
When traveling with your kids, do you prefer to fly or drive?
Fly. Yeah, sooner we get there, the better.
We drive to the mountains. We do short vacations, I guess, in the car, but the destinations that we tend to want to go are very far away, and it would take forever to drive there. We'd waste too much vacation.
In San Diego, Legoland and the zoo are high on our family's list of things to do. Here are 5 other things we loved. Whale watching. Make sure you've got seasickness meds and set off for a couple of hours on the ocean. You learn lots about whales and San Diego history, and you might even see some whales. Cabrillo Monument. Even though our boys were a little less than excited about going to the monument, they actually have good memories of the view from the top of the hill, and older kids might appreciate the historical significance, or maybe just get a few photos. Beach, beach, and more beach. Is it just us, or do all families enjoy the beach this much? In San Diego, everywhere you turn, you run into more beach. Eat lunch on a pier, walk along the boardwalk, shopping for sunglasses, or jump in the waves. Dads. Get yourself a great burger and shake while sitting at a table made out of a surfboard, surrounded by thousands of license plates in this tiny but fun burger joint in Ocean Beach. Bernardo Winery. It's like a theme park for parents. Take the time to eat lunch out on the patio. Get the kids a treat while you taste a few wines and wander through the shops and art studios on the grounds. The USS Midway Museum. We got here in the afternoon and had a little over 2 hours before they closed. Once we bought our tickets and climbed on board, we picked up audio tour headsets. You can choose to listen to and follow whichever tour you like. We chose the new family tour because it was faster paced and shorter, and it kept the little one interested. Once in a while, we would punch in one of the regular or study tour numbers for more information.
At the information desk, we picked up 3 junior pilot training sheets with questions for the kids to answer while following the family tour. They enjoyed pushing the numbers for each tour stop along the way and finding the answers to the questions.
One of my favorite parts of the ship is the living area. It fascinates me that people were on this boat for months at a time and had a whole life on here. Doctor, dentist, laundry, galley, post office, chapel, even a jail. And the difference between sleeping quarters based on rank was interesting. That alone would be a motivator to work hard to rise in the ranks.
The kids, of course, liked the exhibits where they could participate in some way. Sitting in the chairs in the ready room, steam throttle training, the jail, and they loved looking at the planes. There was lots to learn aboard the USS Midway as well. Did you know the wings on the planes fold so that they can fit more of them onto the hangar deck? Or that they could perform surgery aboard an aircraft carrier? Or the most common injury on board is head lacerations from running into the door frames.
3 years ago when we were on the USS Midway, the little one was in a stroller, and him and I did the accessible tour. There are elevators and signs to direct you to the wheelchair and stroller-friendly routes. There are a number of areas that you cannot visit with wheels, so they have a video presentation of those areas on the main hangar deck.
This time we were traveling with Grandma, who walks with a cane. She was able to handle most of the tour, including stairs up and down from one deck to the other. There were a couple of steep stairways she skipped just to be on the safe side.
We could have used another half an hour to explore the planes on the flight deck and go inside the helicopters, but we managed to hit almost every spot on our audio tour, and we answered all the questions on the kids' junior pilot form.
One of the boys ran back to the information desk and caught the volunteers just as we were leaving. We ended our tour with a swearing-in ceremony for our junior pilots, and they were presented with wings, which made for a great souvenir.
Do the tour, then take some more time to really explore. Like most museums, the USS Midway transfers you to another time and place, and challenges you to understand history on a more personal level. That captures the imagination of all on board.
Like most places, the USS Midway has a cafe and gift shop. On our visit a few years ago, we picked up a fighter jet toy for each of the boys, which they still have at home. A reminder that this was enough to ward off the pleas for shopping. There are interesting places to eat in the neighborhood, but if you have a starving teen or a hungry toddler, you will be able to avoid a meltdown at the Midway Cafe. Highlight for the kids?
The audio tour and seeing airplanes.
The planes.
Highlight for the parents? Sunset on the flight deck.
The USS Midway Museum was an adventure for us, even though we had been there before. It appealed to our family members of all ages, and is a place we will definitely visit again, and it's a really nice spot to catch the sunset.
Going on vacation means making memories, and part of that is taking pictures and video of those moments. When I was a kid, I didn't have a camera of my own to take on holidays, and while my parents had cameras, quite often it meant only a few rolls of film. These days, it's quite common for me to take hundreds, if not thousands, of photos. It seems like I like taking pictures. One of the biggest issues I have is managing the cards. How do I ensure that all my pictures are safe? Do I buy multiple cards? Do I bring along my laptop? Do I copy at the end of each day? I've had hard drives and photo cards stop working on me. So how do I protect our precious memories? There is no right answer, but for me, I need to copy and back up every day, so I transfer all the pictures and video to not one, but 2 portable external hard drives. At least this gives me some sense of protection. I also have 2 sets of cards, and each set can hold about 1,000 images. My camera has 2 card slots as well, and there's many configurations, but the way that I prefer to do it is to have a backup copy on the other card. For me, since I've already had the fun of losing all my data on a card, ensuring that my pictures and video travel home with me is very important.
The last time we were in San Diego was 3 years ago. Our kids were still quite young, and some of the activities on our list of things to do just didn't work with younger children. This time, we had Grandma with us, and I was determined to add at least 1 or 2 experiences that were a little less thrill ride and a little more time travel.
Historic Old Town in San Diego was one of those trips down the path of history. And despite some reluctance from at least one young family member, it was quite an enjoyable experience.
Kids are not always super excited about doing things that don't involve rides and water, but usually after a few minutes they find something interesting and fun to take pictures of.
Parking can be tricky in Old Town. We found a spot right next to the cemetery. We began our history lesson there. The cemetery was very interesting because Old Town was a bit of a Wild West sort of place. This story was my favorite.
I ran across the street to the visitor center to pick up a map and ask a few questions. A nice lady at the visitor center helped me decide that the best place for our whole family to explore together would be Old Town State Park.
It was a short walk down the street where we found historic buildings from between 1821 and 1872, like a restaurant, store, smoke shop, newspaper office, courthouse, and jail. What is it with little boys and jails?
In the smoke shop, the kids took turns filling a measuring tube with $3 worth of handmade, beautiful, unique marbles. Great souvenir.
Once back out into the fresh air, we started to get hungry, so headed back down San Diego Avenue to find yummy Mexican food. One of the boys saw a place called Fred's Mexican Food on our way over to Historic Park and asked if we could eat there on the way back. Fred's has a fun patio, and the food and margaritas were fantastic. Good choice, son.
Our kids probably wouldn't pick this as one of their favorite days on vacation. But there were things to intrigue them, and they left with a couple of memories and souvenirs. The adults, of course, could have spent so much more time looking and reading and exploring the historical buildings and sites.
Have lunch or dinner at one of the many Mexican restaurants in the area. Good food and fun atmosphere.
The San Diego trolley tour that starts in Old Town sounded fun, but it was a lot of money for a family and a little too long for younger kids to sit still.
Highlight for the kids.
The jail and the courthouse. Buying marbles. Mexican food.
Highlight for the parents, margaritas.
There's lots more to do in historic Old Town San Diego. Ghost tours?
Why won't anyone go into a haunted house with me?
Not me. Someone else? There's also museums, trolley tours, markets, stables, the hotel, the schoolhouse, and churches. More history to learn, more shops to discover, more Mexican food to try. You know what this means, don't you? We will have to go back. We went to the San Diego Zoo 3 years ago, and although we enjoyed it, we weren't sure we wanted to do it again. This time, we chose the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. It's more expensive, and the information on the website did not give us a clear idea of what we would get for our money. So we decided to risk it, and that risk paid off.
It threatened to rain on this day, so we came prepared. Jackets, sweaters, proper footwear. As is usually the case, when you are prepared, it never rains. The safari park is huge, and there's lots of walking. The map is detailed, and it's easy to navigate through the exhibits. Just pick a direction and start walking.
We started with a stroll around Lagoon Loop. This is where we started to discover why this felt more relaxed than a regular zoo. There are fewer enclosed spaces for the animals in the safari park. It is so open that locally native birds come here to live.
Next up, the gorilla forest. Since when are the older boys almost the size of a gorilla?
We stopped for lunch at one of the several food stands. The kids' meals were the best deal on the menu and came with lots of food, so we all ordered those. Then we headed over to the lion camp. They don't let the lions play with the gazelles and giraffes. How very weird.
This is where we got on the tram to tour the African Plains area of the park. This expansive habitat is only viewable from a tram, and the Africa tram is included with regular admission. The tram driver was a great tour guide and shared lots of information about conservation and interesting animal facts during our ride. And he was pretty funny, too.
In case of a water landing, you may use your fellow passenger as a flotation device.
The tram ride was what made our day great instead of just good. It really felt like we were much further from home. And I have to emphasize again how much space these animals have to roam and live.
We have 1,000 acres of land.
After the tram, we headed over to tiger territory, and we searched for the tiger. Unlike many zoos, the tiger enclosure is very big. So big, the tigers are quite often nowhere to be seen.
According to one of the safari park guides, it takes a lot of patience and repeat visits to get a glimpse of the tiger. It made us kind of happy that the tiger had a choice and wasn't pacing back and forth next to a fence. However, I love tigers and I kind of missed seeing them. Then we came to one of our favorites, the elephants. There was a baby and only a few weeks old.
And I hiked up Condor Ridge, where we found some wonderful, majestic birds. These birds were injured in the wild and rescued to live out their lives safely here at the safari park. We came back down and ended our day with ice cream and a close encounter with a snake at the Animal Ambassador stage. Take a walk up Condor Ridge to see the eagles and the amazing view.
Although some of the safari extras sounded interesting, our day was full and fun with just the regular admission. Highlight for the kids?
The tram tour. The tram tour. The tram tour.
Highlight for the parents, Africa Tram.
We would definitely return to the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Due to time and mobility limitations, we chose to skip Nairobi Village, African Woods, African Outpost, and World Gardens, saving those for next time. There is lots to see and do, and we had a fantastic day on safari. The more we travel with our kids, the easier it gets. The good usually outweighs the bad, and the rest will, one day, make us laugh. Every family and every trip is unique. Different things work for different kids at different ages. All parents have stories to tell. Share your family stories, tips, and advice on KinderJet.com.